Last episode we returned from Blighttown, having rung the second bell, which wakes up this guy, Kingseeker Frampt.
Hello? Hello? Was it you who rang the Bell of Awakening? I am the primordial serpent, Kingseeker Frampt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the Bell of Awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate. Do you seek such enlightenment? Very well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Arnor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel.
Now, if you've been paying attention, you realise we're not the first chosen undead to have attempted this, and we probably won't be the last.
Well, is it something urgent?
Now obviously he gives you more plot if you select talk.
Those who seek the realm of lords must brave Sens Fortress, a deadly house of traps. Many have gone before you, but none have returned. Fate has chosen you, but proceed with caution.
Try not to be put off by his awful dentistry. The other thing we can do is we can feed him items. This lets you trade in inventory items for souls. It's quite good for getting rid of the tons of junk you've been collecting. Doesn't tend to give you a lot of souls. There's the odd... go to this stuff. If you go to actual soul items, the smallest 2 souls you can trade in for more than you get for popping them. The rest of them you generally get less by trading them into him than popping. The other thing you can do is he can break down titanite chunks into smaller titanite chunks and shards. The only ones it's recommended doing these with are the green ones, because they're infinitely farmable from the slugs. So if you give him a green titanite shard, you get a normal one.
Chosen undead, I remain here and await thee.
So, Sens Fortress. Sens Fortress is, once I finish finding my way around Firelink Shrine, is the big building with the gate on that we couldn't get to before.
I am. Oh.
And the quick way to get there is simply up here, up into the parish. To the Forgotten Church. Ignore the undead, we can just run past them. As you can see, there's still online activity in the game despite the age. We will start seeing bloodstains once we get back to Sens. Let's see if we can. So as you'll notice, the gate is now open. This is the most gamey level in the entire game, the most video gamey level, which actually makes sense because in lore it was designed to keep people out. So, first thing we notice is this little raised trap plate. If you just stand on it, this will happen and you'll die. Now, enemies won't set off traps, but they can be hit by them. So here's the first type of enemy in this area, the Snake Man. And they hit hard, but can't take 3 blows from trap. If you timed that right, as you can see we did there, we can take out one of them with the trap, leaving us just one to deal with. They can be backstabbed, they can be parried, but I'm not sure if they can be riposted. That Man Serpent Greatsword we picked up is one of the best strength weapons. It's A grade in strength, and it's pretty damn fast. Behind these pots is a soul for Brave Warrior. These things can't, these items here, these statues can't be destroyed. So don't waste time trying to whack them. Here we see the walkway. The entire Sens Fortress all the way up is crossed by these walkways and these pendulums. Below the walkway is a mess of sticky tar, and at the moment we can see one Titanite demon down there. Because of the tar, you'll want to have your rusted iron ring here, because if you fall down or jump down, you want to be able to move quickly. Across the walkway is another snake man. You might be able to just see him, and you'll definitely see him if we swap to the bow. Did I say that? Yeah, well, he is there, trust me. And down here we have the other type of new enemy, the snake sorceresses. These have 4 arms. They're a lot physically weaker than the male snakes, but they throw lightning, which actually does magic damage, not lightning damage, and their weapons do bleed attacks. You'll also notice this treasure up here. To get to there, we have to drop down, which you can just about survive. Then immediately advise rolling in to get out of the way of the lightning from the demon, and climb up. If you have the Feather Fall spell, you can take that drop without taking any damage, obviously. So, pick up the Lad Soul upon them. Then you hit this, which leads us to another ladder, another quite long climb. On the roof is a giant. This is the guy that opened the door, and we're going to pay him for this by hitting him. If the giants do this tantrum, stay out of the way of them, and then they fall like that and are helpless for a little while, allowing you to get some good hits in. They're better fought with wide slashing weapons than by pokey weapons. That's what happens if one even touches you, so you get knocked flying. Again, when they tantrum, stay out of the way. Not generally a good time to heal. This guy will drop a Titanite chunk when you first kill him. That 500 souls we gained was a snake falling off a walkway. Probably got attracted by the sound of our fighting and tried to walk across, and at which point he would have been hit by the pendulums, fallen down, climbed up, and repeated. But we'll just double check by trying to fire an arrow through. Okay, it looks like we're clear. The trick with the pendulums is not to panic. If you've got time to watch, you can see we've got notches on the brickwork and bloodstains just around the area where they swing. The big danger isn't so much the pendulums, but by the lightning, which will knock you backwards. It's funny, there's a last pendulum here, which can take you by surprise if you weren't expecting it, like most things in this game. Up here, above the next bridge, there's a snake sorceress. She can be shot at from here. Looks like we've got a clear shot. But it's one of those things where if we can shoot her, she can shoot us, so it's up to you really how you deal with that. Now, if you want to try and tank her across, it's best to swap to a shield with good magic resist, such as the crest shield we picked up in the asylum on our second visit. These pendulums work on a system of there's 4 of them as before, but their placement is basically 2 sets of 2. Let's get about here. That's what happens if you get hit. We were lucky there. So when they cross each other, go to the first set. Now you'll notice there's a pressure pad behind us, which again can be used to kill her. That pressure pad triggers this trap. And here we get some large titanite. Next time we stop at a bonfire, we'll be able to upgrade our weaponry again. Coming up to here, we can safely ignore the snake man sleeping against the wall. And as we come to here, another snake man comes along to act as a warning of the main hazard of this area. Sometimes that boulder takes him out totally, sometimes it doesn't. These guys have a lot of poise, so you probably can't stun lock them. And it is best to swap back to a high stability shield after you've crossed that bridge. So, when you pop out of here, we'll just show you after the next boulder goes by. There's a door up there which you don't have enough time to make it to, and a little door on the left which we do have enough time to make it to between boulders. You can also run down, but that's basically a death sentence. So my advice would be to run up, get to the door on the left, if you can. This will probably get that snake lady. You just make life a little bit more difficult. The other over there is a snake man. There's also a trap, so if you can just pull him round you. You can use the trap against him and not have to fight him in a small area. You'll notice that grinding noise. That's when we swap to here, the boulders change direction, and then they swing back round the other way. We'll get to play with the mechanism very shortly. Up here, there's another chest containing the ring of steel protection, which ups your physical resist. If we drop down here, we can pick up the shuttle, which is a weapon used by Nightclaw Trek. Its main property is that a strong attack by it will go around a shield. Also here is the guy who is at the outside of the gate.
Where did you come from? my sight. Yes, indeed. I've run up against the wall, or a wall, to be precise. I'm afraid I'm a bit stuck. Running those things. So here I sit, quite a pickle, but who knows? We'll have another development. Perhaps I can will. My head.
He's basically giving you advice on how to get past the boulders. Basically, you want to be in light armour, and you know, rolling can help. These dead snakes, these are the only time you'll see them here. In future visits, they'll probably be alive. And also, if you just watch the boulder, if you know it down there, you'll see what I mean about there not being anywhere to go. So we'll do this in 2 goes again. You'll notice through this doorway another boulder track and the boulder that's following it. You can, if your armour is very light, just about get up, but it's easier to follow down. However, there's one minor reason to go up, which is if we go up here and then jump about here, we get end on this little platform with a snake sage. The large soul of the Proud Knight. Through the door to the left, and you can pick up the Black Sorcerer set and the Sorcery Hush, which makes you walk silently. See this lift? Don't get on this lift when it first drops up. That route brings you out to the lower end of the boulder train. And if we wait here, we'll see the boulders in a few moments. The other thing about the boulders is they fall down that pit, and eventually that pit fills up. Once the boulders have filled up, the next boulder will break the wall. So you go through, and in between the gaps in the boulders, you can come here and you can pick up the covetous gold serpent ring, the purpose of which ups the drop rate of items. So if you're trying to farm for a specific item, it's a good idea to put it on. You don't have to fall down that pit, I just missed. You can just walk over the boulders. The other thing you'll discover, if you'd come down here the normal route by following the boulders down, you'd have come down here and you'd have spotted this chest. You'd have opened this chest, at which point it would have eaten you. That chest is a mimic. Join me in a moment after we've killed it. Okay, here we are, back with the mimic. So you've got several ways of dealing with these. If you don't want to fight him and you have a Lloyd's Talisman, which I don't know if I have. Well, if we had a Lloyd's Talisman, we could just throw it at it and that would stun it. And then we could just take the item it's got in it. But since we don't, we're just going to hit it, and that gives us one bit of damage on it before it unfolds. It does have an unblockable grab attack, but is mostly harmless apart from that. Now what we don't want to do if we're fighting this is have it fall down the pit. Because that would just be a waste of everybody. There's its grab attack going off. Obviously we're nowhere near it. Now somehow they actually managed to make these more disturbing in Dark Souls 2, which was an impressive feat. The item it drops here is a lightning spear, which is quite handy for this area, as the snakes are pretty resistant to physical damage. This is our first elementally infused weapon as well. And the trick with elemental weapons is they split their damage between physical and their element, and they also no longer do stat scaling. Where is it? I can't find it. There it is. If we look at the lightning spear, it doesn't do stat scaling anymore, but it probably does more damage straight off than a raw spear would at this. I mean, not a raw in the upgrade path, a raw as in unmodified spear would. But once we've taken the spear, just wait for the lift again. The spear immediately becomes less useful in the next area. In case you're wondering, the clue that you shouldn't stay on the lift as it gets to the top is the blood stains on it. Because if we just look up, you can just about see the spikes there. Apparently they're not an instant death, you just need an awful lot of health to survive it. Right, once we've done that, this boulder path is actually safe to travel down. And we can swing the boulders around. Moving the boulders off the left or right path has two effects. Firstly, it moves the Onion Knight's plot on, Onion Bro. Secondly, it will kill the snake there, and move and allow you to get and break down the wall. Just gonna wait until the snake is dead, then we'll move the boulders around again and go down there. This leads us to this little room with all these hanging cages. If you look down there, you might be able to see the other two Titanite demons. In this right-hand cage, we have.
You seem quite lucid. A rare thing in these times. I am Londo. I'm a bit cooped up, as you can see. I have a bright idea. Suppose you set me free. I'm old and empty-handed, but I could repay you with knowledge and success. This place is melting my mind. The inactivity is repressive.
You can unlock his door with the master key or with the cage key that you get later on. And here's the next sorcery teacher after you've exhausted the other one. And like him, he goes to Firelink Shrine for a while. In this cage, also openable by the master key, is the largest soul we've found so far, the soul of a hero. Not that it did him much good. Fortunately, we can't get back up here, so we have to run the gauntlet of the balls again. Back to the main path. Oh, if we just look out of here, That snake is guarding the cage key, but we can't get to it from here. You cannot jump across. I have tried. This pressure pad fires these ones. Just rolls through them and you should be fine. This little gallery isn't guarded, but there are at this end, but there are snakes on the other side. These 4 blades are very closely spaced. Your best bet is to wait till they're all together, then run. Immediately to our right will be a snake, and there's another one up the stairs to our left. If we drop down there, we can get the slumbering dragon crest ring, but it's a pain to get back, so obviously we'll leave that until we've activated the bonfire. Next we kill this snake. You can see, unlike the males, she doesn't have any poise, so if you can get the first stab in, she's not going to do anything to you. But before we continue up the stairs, we want to just come around here and deal with this guy. I think the spear is better than the halberd for fighting in these corridors because of the narrow attack box. Again, more large titanite, very useful. Okay. This is our penultimate bridge, I believe. It might be the last bridge rather than the penultimate one, but it's made more difficult by this snake there. So I find the best way to deal with this one really is to use magic or a bow to knock her off her perch. Only takes a couple of goes and off she goes. These ones are two sets of 2. Again, you can look at the markings on the bridge to work out the safe spot. I would again cross just as they pass each other. And yes, this is the last bridge. If we go to the... You notice there's 2 pressure pads. Both of them activate the same port, this one. And this just leads us to the little stand where she was. This hole leads down to where we were before, and where I said you'd better get the slumbering dragon crest ring, but we're very close to the bonfire, so later. So traverse the right light. And this brings us out to the top of Sens Fortress. The important things to notice are the giant loading rocks there. He's the one loading the ball machine. If you kill him, he'll respawn. And if we look up here, you'll notice another one, and he throws giant fire bombs. If we go down here, we find a couple of boulder knights. The first one of which is here. And the second one of which is around this corner. In the chest here, you have the flamestone plate ring, which increases your fire resistance. The trick with the firebomb throwing giant is that if he can't see you, he'll throw it at the last place he did see you. Also, when killed, he doesn't respawn. So immediately after the bonfire, our next priority is killing him. As soon as the flames have faded, notice they do an awful lot of damage. Run here, stairs on the left, round to the right. Do not stop for the loot that's on the scorch marks. Drop down that little gap in the stone and light the bonfire. Isn't that nice? And now we're here, we're going to reinforce our weapon. Plus 10 is the best we can get our halberd to at the moment. We could also reinforce our lightning spear if we wanted to, but there's not much point at this stage. We can't upgrade our shield because it's at plus 5. Anything not to level up. Vitality is always endurance. We'll do endurance 1 point, 2 points. Back, following the route down drops you back down to here. And if we want to get to something dragon crest ring, easiest way to do it, just go here, kill this one, so she can't follow us down the hole. Now when we jump down the hole, we will attract the attention of the snake man that's halfway down. And he will probably follow us. And even if he doesn't, there's another one down here. This brings us to the slumbering dragon crest ring, and if you look down there, all the way down, which if you don't have a homeward bone is how you're getting down, you'll see below us the Titanite demon. But we do have a homeward bone, so that's how we're getting home. The slumbering dragon crest ring makes it so that you are silent when you walk. I will demonstrate this. No more noise. The no sound whatsoever is false because our weapons still make noise, but we don't. This is a safe spot. If you want to try and snipe him, you can do it with poison arrows from here. In the absence of poison arrows, you're going to have to run up there and shoot him. There's a crossbow man shooting at us as well, but keep moving and you're fine. Down here is a boulder knight, but he's not guarding anything and he doesn't aggro unless you get close to him. These cages will become a shortcut, but we don't have the key for them. Even the master key won't do it. That's the boss fog. Sadly, if you break his fire bombs, or he breaks his fire bombs, they don't all explode. If he blocks the door, you're kind of stuck when it comes to fighting him, especially as there's not a vast amount of space up here. I said something about spears not being great for fighting these guys because of their small hitboxes. You might be better off waiting for him to tantrum and then just prodding him. As before, as with the gatekeeper one, he also drops a titanite chunk. Look over there, we can see this is the boss of the area, the iron golem. Not quite done. There's a few more rooms to explore, and then we're going to want to go human, so I can show you the NPC summon for this area. So we're going to swap back to our halberd now. And we're also going to put on the Clorancy ring. Round this side of the castle is one of these black iron knights that we've seen before in the parish. This one will respawn. And he does drop items quite often. Down the ladder. This brings us to the lower part of this tower. And up here is Ricard. He'll use a bow from range. When you get close, he'll bring out his rapier, which as you can see is really fucking vicious if he manages a parry attack. He also has the full attack on it is nasty as well. because it does many blows. And that's his. You want to watch out for his parry guards generally. This is Ricard's rapier, which is only considered a pretty good dex weapon. Let's see if we can actually use it. Yeah, we've got the stats for it. Obviously it's unupgraded at the moment, so standard attack, and its lunge attack, it does the salute and then a two strikes, which means if it's enchanted or something, you'll hit with the enchanted damage twice, which makes it quite good. But again, back to our halberd, because it's not upgraded. Unique named weapons in this don't tend to be good because of their damage numbers, but more because of their move set. In these two chests, we have Divine Blessing, which will heal everything, but are very rare, and a rare Ring of Sacrifice. Trip back to the fire will be nice and restful, and then it's like they will go human and take on the boss. Oh no, we'll go and show you the merchant, then we'll go human and take on the boss. To get to the merchant, you have to jump this gap. And he's this cheery chap round here.
Ah, what? Who are you? Another undead, eh? I took on Sens Fortress alone, but I'm no different from those vile creatures. I was driven by conceit. Ah, you think you're different? That you can handle it? Yes, I remember that feeling. For I was the same. So, let me help you out, with your soul searching. There's nothing more to say. I'm finished. We're both on the brink, you see. End of story. You bloody fool.
Lovely. He sells black fire bombs, green blossoms, titanite shards, large titanite shards. These are very expensive, and greens. He also sells a selection of weapons, including the quite good boulder shield, standard ammo, and sniper bolts for the sniper crossbow, which I'll show you where it is, but we're not going to pick it up because it's not that great. He also sells the Katarina armour, much beloved of many people for its ludicrous nature. So we'll buy the hat, because we might as well. And finally, does he sell rings? Yeah, he's got Thunderstone plate and Spellstone plate, which protect against lightning and magic respectively.
Nothing at all? Fine then. Rush in like a naked babe and be skinned alive.
This has actually put our weight up, so we're going to move on. Oh, we've already got Havel's ring on. And now we're going to die because I fell off the stairs. Whoopsie! Well, at least I can show you the sniper crossbow. Turn around here. The reason we're going back to the shop, is not so much to pick up our piddly 800 souls, but to collect the cage key. A long way down the tower. This will let us unlock the shortcut. And if we didn't have the master key, we could also use it to free Logan and get that hero soul from the cage room that the ball opened. If you miss a jump, don't worry. As long as you've got reasonably high health, it's not fatal. There's the sniper crossbow. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you actually aim with a crossbow. You still have to use, it doesn't let you put a crosshairs up. You're still limited to the normal lock-on shooting. Twin humanities. I could have used a standard one, never mind. And Dindle. Didn't notice I'd already picked up a humanity. No idea what I was doing there. Rolling for the fun of it. Okay, now that we've got the cage key, we can unlock this. To fully activate the shortcut, you have to travel down it once. It's like the lifts in the parish in that regard. Just seeing it isn't enough. And it brings us out down here just by that snake guy. Which is a bit awkward. Now, if I was actually going to use the shortcut, I'd probably aim for... I'd probably use the Feather Fall spell and have the tar ring equipped and just roll off into the tar and run for the stairs rather than try and fight him on that ledge with a wizard shooting at me. But now the shortcut is opened, so we can go top to bottom to Sens Fortress very quickly. This is probably also the last part of the game where shortcuts, or one of the last parts of the game where shortcuts are really important. I've no idea why that guy's so fragile. In this tower is the summon sign of Iron Tarkus, who is notable amongst NPC summons for often being able to beat the boss himself, something that we're going to try and demonstrate. The first thing the boss will do when you come through here is probably let off a blade wind attack like that. And then it's time to start closing with him. And you generally want an attack with a sweepy thing. He can hit you with his axe, but his main really annoying attack is to try and grab you and slam dunk you, which is what he is trying there. But we're going to try and leave this to Tarkus. See how we do it, leaving it to Tarkus. Because he, as I said, Tarkus can normally manage this on his own. There's his slam attack. This can knock you off the entire bridge, and that if he dunks you onto the floor. This is a bit too far. If Tarkus can't do it, the golem's legs are his weak spot. That if you whack him in the legs often enough, he'll topple. Like that. And then, as with the giants, he's vulnerable for a few whilst you just whack him. And there he is, mostly taken out by Tarkus on his own. And once you've beaten the golem, examine this. And we're treated to the Arnor Londo entry cutscene. Isn't it glorious? If you want to return to Sens, you can just talk to this demon and you'll be carried back. And here we are in Arnor Londo. Now we're about halfway through the game, so the format of this LP is going to change with the future episodes, in that we're going to be mainly concentrating on trouble areas in a level rather than doing a full run through and showing you every secret. The goal of the LP was to show that Dark Souls can be played by anybody, and a lot of the fun of Dark Souls for me is the exploration, and I don't want to rob you all of that. So we're in future, for the next part we're going to be covering mimics, For the next part of the LP we're going to be covering mimics. We're going to be covering that area of the game of Arnor Londo. Veterans of Dark Souls know exactly what area I'm talking about. So see you next time in sunny Arnor Londo.